I want you to picture two driveways. Same town, same suburban street, same property value. The first driveway holds a brand new $65,000 European SUV. It has heated leather seats, a panoramic sunroof, and a badge that commands respect at the office. The person behind the wheel earns $140,000 per year. To the neighbors, they are the definition of success. But look closer at the math. Between the $900 monthly payment, the high-octane fuel, the specialized maintenance, and the insurance premiums, this vehicle consumes nearly 25% of their take-home pay. This person is trapped in the mid-tier. They earn too much to be considered struggling, but they spend too much to ever be free. They are one corporate restructuring away from losing the very image they're working so hard to maintain. The second driveway holds a 6-year-old Japanese sedan. It's clean, reliable, and entirely paid off. The person behind the wheel also earns $140,000 per year. While their neighbor is busy paying for the depreciation of a status symbol, this person is busy buying their freedom. The $1,200 they don't spend on a car loan every month goes directly into a brokerage account. While the first neighbor is handcuffed to a job they can't afford to leave, the second neighbor has built a war chest. This isn't a story about cars, it's a story about the mid-tier luxury trap that keeps the middle class broke. Most people don't ruin their lives with $10 million mansions. They ruin them with $800,000 houses they don't need, $60,000 cars they can't afford, and $5,000 vacations they put on a credit card. It's a lifestyle of entry-level luxury that feels like progress, but functions as wealth destruction. The first person isn't failing. They're just following the script. They believe that as income rises, the stuff must rise to meet it. They've mistaken spending power for wealth. The second person understands the most important rule of the mid-tier. Luxury is only enjoyable when it's optional. When your car or your address dictates that you must stay in a high-stress environment just to keep the lights on, that's not luxury, it's a debt-funded prison. Today, I'm going to show you how to identify and break the middle-class handcuffs. These aren't about living like a hermit. They're about recognizing that looking rich is the biggest obstacle to actually becoming wealthy. Let's start with the social tax of mid-tier luxury. When you buy the $60,000 SUV, you aren't just buying a car. You are triggering a psychological cascade of expectations. You now feel the need to eat at the restaurants that match the car. You feel the need to wear the clothes that match the restaurants. You feel the need to live in the neighborhood that matches the clothes. This is the multiplier effect in its most dangerous form. You are building an ecosystem where every dollar of your raise is spoken for before it even hits your account. True wealth is the gap between what you earn and how you live. The wider that gap, the more power you have. The person in the mid-tier trap has a gap of 2%. The person with the war chest has a gap of 40%. One of them owns their time, the other is just renting a lifestyle they don't actually own. The goal isn't to see how much you can buy. The goal is to see how much of your life you can buy back. Every mid-tier luxury you skip is a year of early retirement you've just secured. Every status purchase you ignore is a brick in the wall of your financial fortress. You see, the first step to breaking the golden handcuffs is recognizing that the lifestyle upgrade is a trap. This leads to the next core principle in reclaiming your freedom. Rule 2, price your freedom in years, not dollars. Most people look at a luxury purchase and think, I'll put it on the credit card. The person with the war chest looks at the same purchase and asks, how many months of my life am I trading for this? When you look at a $50,000 car upgrade, don't see a leather interior. See the $50,000 of capital that could have been generating income for you. If your annual expenses are $50,000, that car isn't just a vehicle. It is one full year of your life. It is 365 days where you must show up to work, sit in meetings you don't like, and answer to a boss you might not respect, just to pay for the metal in your driveway. You need to see every purchase as time. The mid-tier trap works because it hides the cost of time. It convinces you that a $500 a month increase in your mortgage is manageable. But that $500 a month compounded over 20 years at a 7% return is nearly $260,000. For most people, that is 5 to 7 years of total financial independence. But you didn't just buy an extra bedroom, you traded the ability to retire at 55 instead of 62. Breaking the handcuffs requires a radical shift in accounting. You must start measuring your net worth in time value. Have a look at these 4 tiers. In Tier 1, you have 3 months of freedom, the safety net. In Tier 2, you have 2 years of freedom, the career pivot. In Tier 3, you have 10 years of freedom, the no fund. And in Tier 4, you have infinite freedom, wealth. The person trapped in mid-tier luxury is usually stuck at Tier 1. They only have 3 months of freedom, regardless of whether they earn $100,000 or $400,000. They are rich in stuff, but poor in time. They have plenty of stuff, cars, watches, clothes, and so on, to show for their work, but zero ability to stop working. To break this, you must apply the opportunity cost audit to every recurring expense. Look at your subscription services, your premium gym membership, and your leased vehicle. Calculate the 10-year compounded value of those monthly drains. You will quickly realize that you aren't spending extra money. You are spending your exit strategy. Someone who stays in a modest home and drives a modest car while their income grows is buying back their 50s and 60s in real time. They are creating a buffer that allows them to take risks the mid-tier earner can't even dream of. The person with the $1,200 car payment can't quit to start a business. The person with the paid-off sedan can. The handcuffs are only as strong as your desire to impress people you don't even like. Once you value your Monday mornings more than your neighbor's opinion, the locks fall off. The mid-tier trap is held together by a single, powerful psychological glue: the belief that your spending is a mirror of your success. In the professional world, this is the status mirage. It's the feeling that if you aren't living in the rich neighborhood or wearing the right watch, you haven't actually made it. The person with the golden handcuffs uses their overhead to prove their value to the world. They view their lifestyle as a resume they wear on their sleeve. But there is a fatal flaw in this logic. The world doesn't care about your resume, it only cares about your capacity to keep paying for it. When you tie your self-worth to your spending, you give your employer and your creditors total control over your identity. If the income stops, the identity collapses. Minimalists and the truly wealthy understand that self-worth is generated by competence and autonomy, not by the acquisition of symbols. They realize that the most impressive thing you can own isn't a luxury item. It's the fact that you don't need luxury items to feel important. To break the status mirage, you must perform an identity audit. Look at your most expensive possessions and ask, if I could never show this to another human being, would I still want to own it? Would you still want the $4,000 watch if no one ever saw your wrist? Would you still want the $90,000 sports car if you only drove it at night? Would you still want the designer labels if the tags were on the outside? Most mid-tier luxury is performative consumption. It is money spent to influence the opinions of people who are too busy worrying about their own status to actually notice yours. When you stop performing, your expenses plummet. The most dangerous part of the status mirage is that it creates a high-pressure environment where you cannot afford to fail. Because your identity is tied to a high-burn lifestyle, any threat to your income becomes a threat to your soul. This leads to defensive spending. Buying more stuff to soothe the stress caused by the cost of the stuff you already have. It is a feedback loop that leads straight to burnout. Breaking the cycle requires you to build a stealth wealth mindset. You choose to be the person who is secretly winning. You are the one in the room with the lowest overhead but the highest liquid net worth. You don't need to win the parking lot war at the office because you've already won the war for your time. When you decouple your identity from your overhead, You become dangerous in the best way possible. You become unfireable in your own mind. You can speak your truth at work, take creative risks, and walk away from toxic situations because you don't have a lifestyle that requires you to be a submissive earner. Rule 4. Execute the liquidity pivot. The final step in breaking the golden handcuffs is moving from defense to offense. Breaking the cycle of mid-tier luxury isn't just about refusing to buy things, it's about what you do with the capital you've liberated. This is the liquidity pivot. In the world of the golden handcuffs, wealth is stagnant. It is locked in the equity of an oversized home, the metal of a depreciating car, and the fabric of a designer wardrobe. This is dead wealth. You cannot spend your granite countertops to buy a year off work. You cannot trade your luxury SUV for a seat on a board of directors. The person with the war chest prioritizes liquid wealth. They understand that $1 in a brokerage account is infinitely more powerful than $1 in a blender because liquid cash has utility. It is the only thing that can be converted into anything at a moment's notice. When you execute the liquidity pivot, your focus shifts from owning to controlling. You stop trying to own the most impressive assets and start trying to control the most impressive amount of your own time. The trapped earner sees a $5,000 bonus and thinks, "What can I buy?" The pivot strategist sees a $5,000 bonus and thinks, "How much future work does this replace?" At a 4% withdrawal rate, every $25,000 you have invested provides $1,000 of annual income forever. When you skip the mid-tier trap on a car upgrade or a home and instead pivot that money into the market, you are building a freedom machine. Eventually, the machine generates more income than your lifestyle requires. This is the moment the handcuffs dissolve completely. The liquidity pivot changes how you experience the world. The person who is all in on their lifestyle is constantly on the defensive, afraid of anything that might disrupt their cash flow. The person who has pivoted to liquidity is on the offensive. They are the ones who can buy assets when the market crashes. They are the ones who can fund a new venture when an opportunity arises. They are the ones who can say no to a toxic boss because their freedom machine is already doing the work for them. You don't need a $200,000 income to start. You just need the clarity to stop trading your future for a mid-tier present. The golden handcuffs only stay on as long as you believe the gold is worth the